This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. Just consider this your vitamin or supplement for your heart and mind. And wherever you download podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom and leave a rating and a brief written review? It would be so helpful. It enables others to be able to locate this podcast. Today I want to talk to you about decluttering. And I have entitled it that awareness is the key to change. If you need to declutter your life, the first thing is you have to be aware that you have a lot of clutter in your life. And we have an information overload, as it were. Human beings have created more information in the last 10 years than in all recorded history. I just think back to when I was in college in the mid to late 1970s and graduate school from the late 70s to the early 80s. We had no internet. We had no computers. My IBM Selectronic typewriter was state-of-the-art electronics. I typed my own papers. I did my own research in the library. You had to use reference books. And there was just not all the information in the entire world was available to us. And when you read a stat like that or you come across it, that more things have been created, more information in the last 10 years than in prior recorded history. So with the growth of the internet and 24-hour television and cable news, and we take our mobile phones, which are really computers in our hands, we now receive 5 times the information every day as we did in 1986. Studies have shown that the average social media user consumes 285 pieces of content a day, which would equate to about 54,000 words. I think it causes us to ask ourselves, what do you value? I mean, we have a lot of information, but very little wisdom. We're interested in wisdom. Information is good as far as it goes. But with all of this information coming into us, and all of us buy into it and participate in it, but periodically you need to push yourself away, my friend, and you need to just ask yourself this question: what do I value? What is really important to me? And how am I going to? First, you have to ask, how do I spend my time and energy? Far too much of it is spent as a passive observer of life, binging on Netflix, watching television, surfing the internet. There's nothing in and of themselves wrong with those things, but too many people are depleting both their time and their energy on pursuits that are dead end. Do not make entertainment more than entertainment. There's nothing wrong with being entertained. It's valuable and important. It should not be a 24-hour-a-day job. And I think when you're thinking of decluttering and trying to put up a firewall around all of this bombardment from social media in the world, you have to determine what are your priorities and goals. What is your priority? What are you about? What are the goals that you believe you have that you need to do, that you want to move your life in a positive direction into the future? And only you, my friend, can answer that question for yourself. So you'll say, what in the world, Dr. Ron, does this have to do with decluttering? There are some folks who are more prone to gathering clutter around them. But I laid it out that we're all receiving information. We are all receiving all sorts of things. And I think besides the clutter in our homes, our offices, which will include, I also want you to think about doing an electronic decluttering. So whether it's your home, your office, your car that is filled with clutter, let's just take some time and say, I'm going to declutter my life. My wife and I have one last storage unit, as we're probably 7-8 years away from retiring, which we won't really retire, but we'll move into another direction, and we will more than likely move to another part of the country. And so we have come up with this idea. We have these boxes of stuff that we've never looked in. Let's go through it, get rid of it, begin the decluttering process, and I'm going to tell you what it does for you, both physically decluttering and electronically decluttering. First of all, it reduces stress. I'm amazed as I walk through my neighborhood and I see valuable homes, and on the driveway are $50 to $80 to $90,000 worth of vehicles because they can't be parked in the garage because there's $1,000 worth of junk and trash heaped up in our garages. There seems to be this idea, this fascination and love affair with accumulating junk. Well, go through it, getting rid of it, taking care of it, putting it somewhere. It will reduce stress. When we have to rent storage units, fill our garages, and I live in a part of the world where it's hot in the summer and very cold in the winter, and there sit those beautiful shiny vehicles out in the driveway with the baking sun in the summer and in the winter covered with snow, all because we have precious junk in our garages that we don't want to get rid of. First of all, paring down, at least tip your hat to minimalism. It will reduce your stress, whether it's electronic decluttering or your physical surroundings. I have discovered that when you begin to declutter a room, you begin to declutter the things on your computer, it'll make you more confident. You'll feel like you have a better handle on things. When we have clutter and stuff in various locales, we have so much, at least in the Western world, that we aren't even aware today of all that we do have and what it is, nor have we even really assigned it a value. It's not very valuable, my friend, if it's in a cardboard box in an unheated storage shed or a floor-to-ceiling stored in your garage. So decluttering will make you confident. It's a discipline. When we have clutter all around us, our computer all cluttered up, our closets, our storage bins all cluttered up, we need discipline. It takes discipline to go through there and say, is this a part of who I am? Is this valuable to me in the world I live in? I think when people walk through garages that they can barely walk through, they go to storage units filled again from floor to ceiling, can barely get through it, basements filled to overflowing, closets that you can barely shut the door on. All of that junk depletes your emotional energy because you worry about it and think, someday I'm going to get after that. Someday I'm going to take care of that. Let me tell you, one of the best things that happens when you declutter electronically as well as your physical environment, you find lost stuff. I found a watch about a year ago that I had not known where it was for a couple of years, and it was in the bottom of a cardboard box in a storage unit for who knows what reason. So Mrs. Blake and I are going out of the storage unit business. By the end of this month, we will have all of our lives fairly much decluttered. So you'll find lost stuff. Even I have found lost documents, lost articles in my computer because I didn't keep track of where it was. When you declutter, you can live in the now and you don't have that nagging sense in your mind, I have got to get rid of this stuff. I have to get law and order. I have to get myself organized. Decluttering will help you live in the present without the pressure of you got to get this stuff taken care of. Just briefly, let's talk about one of the areas where for most of us gets out of control rapidly, and that is our inbox for our email. I have looked at people's computers who've asked me to help them with something who have 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 email messages. It's just overwhelming. And so I would get my timer out and I would begin work through my inbox. What I would suggest is if your inbox is especially filled and cluttered, that you work in 10-minute increments and then take a 2 or 3 minute break. And if you have the time, come back and hit it for another 10 minutes. And there really are 3, and then I'm going to give a 4th thing that you need to decide with every email and do it at that moment. Those who focus on one thing at a time outperform those who multitask. So when it's time to declutter your inbox, and I'm suggesting for the 90% of you, it's time right now. The first is, if it's unnecessary, delete it. Go ahead. It was a nice note. I'm sure someone thought of you, but it serves no useful purpose. Hit the delete button. Go ahead, get rid of it. Then there is another group, especially if it's your work email inbox or even your one at home. Maybe it's not something you really can attend to, and maybe it's really not speaking of a problem that you are in a position to solve, but your spouse can, your children can, your coworker can, your administrative assistant, your boss, someone can. Then delegate it to them and say, this is really something they can take care of. They have the expertise, the ability, or they're in the position to handle this. Just pass it on, delegate it on. And then I always try, if it takes less than 2 to 3 minutes to answer the email, I do it right then. So either delete it, delegate it, or do it. Then there are a couple of other things. I have a tendency for all of my work-related emails, even ones that I don't believe I will ever see again or need to reference, I file them away. I happen to file them away in a couple of folders in Evernote, so that if anyone ever questions, I have had people say, you never responded to my email, and they are amazed that if I can't pull it up on my computer, which I usually can, I have a copy of it in Evernote, and I send it to them. It's worth for me saving all of them, and then after a few years, I purge those files, but I do save them. And so if you're going to file them somewhere other than your inbox. I believe a clean inbox with things in them that only need your attention today will make you a much more productive person. And with cloud backup and all the kinds of storage and all the kinds of apps we have, there's just absolutely no reason to leave those things unattended in your inbox. Clean out your inbox. I think that's a great way to start decluttering your life. And it'll give you confidence and momentum, and then you'll move on and begin to declutter every area of your life. You've been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom. Words on leadership, goal setting, productivity. Take some time this week and start decluttering your life. Again, wherever you receive Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, please subscribe and write a brief review and give us a rating. It would be so helpful. And this is Dr. Ron saying, happy decluttering and have a great and blessed day.